Hello and welcome to What the Math. Today we'll be taking a look at perfect square expansion. Now this topic is often confused with differences of squares because it looks the same but gives you very different results. So let me show you what I mean. Differences of squares refers to this type of relationship. So it's a square, a square minus b square. Now perfect square is something different. And in the previous video I showed you that this actually equals to a minus b times a plus b. So this is what we call differences of squares. Now however, perfect squares are a little bit different. Perfect squares always start with brackets. So you have brackets, and inside the brackets you have a minus b squared. Or sometimes you'll have a plus b squared. And a lot of people make this mistake. They actually think that this equals to a squared minus b squared, or in other words, that this is actually the differences of squares, but it's not because, let me show you why. Because this actually equals to a minus b multiplied by a minus b. And this here equals to a plus b multiplied by a plus b. So this is what we call perfect squares. In other words, if we were to look at the picture of what's happening here, you'll have a square of, let's look at this first, a minus b, and that's one side, and then another side is also a minus b. So it's actually a perfect square that has two sides, a minus b, a minus b. Now this here, so this was the orange square right here. Now this here, let's make it yellow, this here will be a much bigger square with sides a plus b and a plus b. And once again, this is actually a perfect square. However, if you look at the difference of squares, if you remember from the previous video, what it will give you is a plus b times a minus b. So it's actually a square of a that is missing a square of b from the inside. So this is actually empty space. So that's why it's not actually the same answer. So please don't confuse these because this is very important. Alright, so let's talk more about perfect squares. And on the left side we're going to talk about the difference, a minus b squared, and on the right side we're going to talk about the addition, a plus b squared. So let's start with the difference. So this can be also written as a minus b times a minus b, and this is where we have to FOIL this. And in one of the previous videos I showed you how to do this with a table. So if you put a and negative b here, and then you put a and negative b here, what you're going to get is a squared minus ab plus b squared. So the answer to this is going to be a squared minus ab, and minus ab will give us minus 2ab. So they don't actually cancel out, you actually have to add them because it's two negatives that are added. And finally you'll have plus b squared. Now, when I was doing math in high school, I was actually told to remember this because you will see this a lot. So it's really helpful if you can try to remember that a minus b squared will always give you this. Will always give you this. So it's always a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Now, you don't have to remember it. You can always try to do it with a table, but unfortunately, sometimes you won't have enough time. So if you have a chance to memorize it, do it. Now let's look at the summation. So a plus b squared is the same as a plus b times a plus b. And this one is a little bit easier because it doesn't have negatives in it. So it's ab and ab, which will give us a squared, ab, and b squared. Which of course gives us a squared plus 1ab here will give us 2ab, and then plus 2b squared. And that's the final answer for this perfect square. So when you look at it, really the only difference is that this here has a minus and this here has a plus. So, and that's really the only difference between these perfect square expansions. Okay, so try to remember what these are, and we'll do a lot of practice in class just to help you remember. Hopefully this was helpful, and thank you for watching. Bye bye, good luck.